terrifying, but more terrifying to have the cancer. So a year before that, to go back a little, I had a melanoma on my shoulder, which was in situ. And it said 95% cure rate and this and that. By the time I got in there, I went in and we went in with the attitude that we wanted out like yesterday. Yeah. Who after about 13 months said, if melanoma ever goes anywhere, let's just do a CAT scan, even though you feel fine, and we'll check it out. And then they did. There was a tumor in my lung about the size of a plum. We walked into Beth Israel Hospital, which is for a second opinion, and just walking in, and we met the guy, and I turned to her and I go, I don't like it. This vibe in here, I don't like it. It doesn't feel right. And sure enough, when he came out, he sat down. He says, so sorry to meet you like this. He says, you get 3 to 5 years, probably. You should do this treatment, that treatment. So I went back to my surgeon. I said, why did he say that? Because I don't know. He said, like I said, I thought it was old age. Thought I was just getting tired and wearing out and things like that. And then all of a sudden it was lung cancer. I wasn't getting short of breath that I could recognize because it was a gradual thing as the tumor grew. So I would be, I guess I would run, I'd run, I'd get through about a mile and so I'd just be, oh God, I'm so tired. But it turns out when they actually went in, that lung was only working at like 25%. So that's why the tiredness was there. Other than that, it was just shortness of breath. I did have felt like a knot in my back, which was curious after in hindsight was, I say, I wish I could somebody stand on my back because I feel like there's something in my back. Oh, yeah. And then just before that, there was a cough where some blood came out. I couldn't tell if it was like a sinus blood or blood from my lung. And when I saw that, it kind of got nervous. But yeah, so the physical symptoms were mostly just the tiredness, Well, you can tell even now sometimes when I talk, I don't judge how much air I got in my lungs, so I'll run out of air. And I get a little half word at the end. But you just felt like you just couldn't do the things that you physically that you used to be able to do. And you get frustrated with that. So I'm never going to get this thing out of there. And they did stress tests before the surgery, which my heart started to do funny things because when you have anything pressing on your heart starts to react funny. And so I was panicked before the surgery, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to never get this out of here because my heart went into AFib and all that kind of stuff. For the most part, it screwed up my tennis game because you don't have the wind to do it. And surfing, I wouldn't go out if the waves were too big because I didn't want to be held under too long. I used to think nothing would ever get me. It's I played tennis for years and became a tennis teaching pro, and I thought, I want to play some tournaments. And my mother, who's a tennis pro, said, wait till you're 50, because when you're 50, all them guys are going to be out of shape, and you'll kill it because you're in good shape. And then 50, they yank your lung out on you. So it's better do what you can while you can. But yeah, so it's things are a little different all the time. But I wasn't getting short of breath that I could recognize because it was a gradual thing as the tumor grew. So I would be, I guess I would run, I'd run, I'd get through about a mile and so I'd just be, oh God, I'm so tired. But it turns out when they actually went in, that lung was only working at 25%. So that's why the tiredness was there. But I was still playing tennis. I just adjusted my game so that I would win points quicker. So, yeah, and I used to like to, so that was, you adjust and you don't even realize you're doing it, Things I gave up, that I never thought I'd be able to give up, like surfing and playing tennis. And I guess I just adjusted to it as that's the new norm. But I mostly counted on my wife. I wouldn't let her leave the room. It was if I go into a coma, I didn't want to be sustained, so to speak.
He was always the person who worried about his mortality. What if there's nothing? The fear of getting sick. So I was petrified that he would get depressed. And honestly, it scared me more because when he was sick, that he would go down the rabbit hole of the black hole and never come out. So I had a 3-hour pity party when we first got the diagnosis, and we invited his family over and we talked about it.
Yeah.
And I said, that's it. Now you're not going to feel sorry for yourself. Now we've got to fight.
When you first wake up from surgery, you really panic because you can't get that cleansing breath. You're used to being able to just take a deep breath, and it's short. And, people should know that you do get it, but it's no matter how many people, you think, oh my God, I'm going to live the rest of my life just getting little breaths, and that panicked me for about a week. And even in the hospital, I was kind of delirious with, like, I can't sleep. I think I'm going to stop breathing, and I want to have oxygen and nebulizers and all kinds of stuff to make me feel more comfortable. But
right after the surgery in the hospital, there was a time for the first 2 or 3 days he was not sleeping because he was afraid he wasn't going to breathe again. And every time the nurse would leave the room, he'd say something wacky, like he was seeing things come out of the TV, or he said he can't sleep, and the nurse would come in and say, how you doing, Mr. Walsh? And he'd say, good, good, good. And then she'd leave. And I was like, I cannot speak for you. And he wasn't going to speak because he's a proud guy and he didn't want to tell anybody how he was feeling and how things were jumping out of the TV.
And that was probably the craziest time when she left for one night and I thought they moved my room and people were coming in and out and I hadn't moved at all, but it was like the third day without sleeping. So, and I couldn't tell anybody, and I think I was afraid to tell them that I needed a sleeping pill, because I was afraid if I went to sleep, I wasn't going to be able to breathe.
So as a wife, I didn't want to be the complaining one. So I said, you have got to tell that nurse exactly what's going on. But I would think that happens a lot more often than not, where the patient doesn't want to say.
Well, guys probably don't. I don't know. Maybe they just say, I'm good.
But then he got a sleeping pill after day 3, and he got a couple hours sleep. But it was really delirium from not sleeping.
If it wasn't for her being there all the time, it would have been a lot harder. Yeah. So where do I go from here? Because you do miss not having 2 lungs, because I could be playing a lot of tennis right now. You live month to month, every 3 months, every 6 months for the scans to see if anything shows up again. So you go in there like this with fingers crossed and everything you can think, and they'll take a scan and kind of you get relieved, but then you start building towards the next one, and they keep spreading them out further and further. I right now, 11 years later, I feel like when I breathe in, I can't tell I don't have 2 lungs. It feels like I have regular lungs. So you just get you can do things, but then your muscles start crying for energy, and you only got one pump to get so you're tired. Just like if you hiked a mountain, you're start to burn a little, you get tired and fatigued, but you adjust. I don't think I would retire right away or make the health issue part of my excuse to retire. I make it part of my excuse to when I want to get out of yard work. But I always tell them, they go, when are you going to retire? People come in all the time. They ask, when are you going to retire? And I go, oh, and I stopped having this much fun. Oh my God. And I couldn't wait. Every day I would call her, when are you coming home? When are you going to go bring me that sandwich? But yeah, the little things started to get really important.
You need emotional support.
Yeah.
To be able to keep pushing you through.
Yeah, because walking afterwards when you're building yourself up, there was days when you're like, I can't believe this happened to me. I can't believe I'm, and you start to get down and come in, and she'd hang out the window and say, 2 more laps, come on, 2 more. So yeah, and I think you recognize your faith, and you go to it a lot. You do go to your faith a lot, and if you don't have that, I don't know how people would deal with it if they didn't have their faith, because you kind of when all else fails, that's all that's left. The biggest part, she always says it best, that everybody says you got to have your health, but when that's failed, you got to have your faith. So that's
our personal preference.
yeah, that's ours. And good food.
And good food.